Hi, I'm Jim Yates from Nuts and Bolts. I'm very excited. It's going to be a great year for everybody. I can feel it. But what I'd like to talk to you today about is goals and why we should have goals. There's lots of reasons why people have goals, but some of the main reasons are to inspire yourself and others and excite your students, especially at the beginning of the year. Goal setting is for everyone, not just for the students, for you as well, and the school. So it's very powerful and very important to start thinking about goals right now and prioritizing what goals you need to be setting, because in most cases most people have got a lot of different goals that they could actually set, but not to bite off too much either. So prioritizing is very important, which goals are very important to you. Set many goals and track them. That's really going to be very, very important. And achievable guidelines. So give yourself some time to actually achieve these goals. Practice makes perfect. So the more we do it, the easier it's going to become. So set reasonable and make achievable deadlines, timelines and deadlines for these goals. And one of the other things I really would love to talk to you about is celebrating these goals and recognizing small successes. Each step is a success. And if we can do that with ourselves, we need to teach our students to do exactly the same thing. Remember, if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll get what you've got. So we all want to grow, we all want to get better. So I'd like to share a story with you. And basically it's a story that's dear to my heart. Many years ago when I was actually starting with this these classes in this kind of education, I used to practice it out with my kids on the floor, sitting on the floor of the living room, and I used to get them to set goals and practice with them, see how they would react to some of my suggestions. And this particular session, the three of them were sitting out. They're only, I think they were 14, no, 16, 14 and 12. And it's a long time ago. And I not only have 3 children, I have 5 grandchildren now, so that tells you how long ago it was. But it's still very significant and a great message here. So one of the things I asked them, I said very simply, you know, if you had anything in the world, what would it be? What would be your goal if you could get anything in the world? And I asked my son, Jamie, and he, as a typical boy, he wanted to say, Dad, if I had any in the world, I'd get a new, Ford Ranger. I said, what colour would it be? He said, oh, metallic blue. I said, how are you going to pay for it? He said, I'm going to borrow money from you and I'm going to get 2 part-time jobs. I said, oh, that's terrific, great. And how are you going to pay for the insurance and all that? I said, well, the part-time insurance, I've actually already got a part-time job and I can allocate some of that money to pay the insurance and the gas. Oh, very clear picture. Excellent. Then I turned around to Emma, middle child, and I said, Emma, what if you had, one goal in life, what would that be? And she face turned red and started to cry. And she said, I'm not playing this stupid game. And she got up and stormed out the room. And I couldn't quite understand that. So I got up to run after her and see what was wrong. And Katie starts shouting, my youngest one. And Dad, never mind about Emma. Ask me. So if you knew my youngest daughter, that's exactly what I had to do, was to ask her before I went to see Emma. So I said, well, what would be your number 1 goal? What would you like to see? What would you like to have? And I said, that's easy, Dad, it's easy. I want a Walkman. That's gone back a long, long time. Walkman was a little thing like a phone that played all the tunes and songs that you like to hear and had the earphones to go along with it. I said, that's terrific. How much did it cost? She said, $29.99. I said, where is it? She said, Target. I said, well, how are you going to pay for it? She said, I'm going to have a babysitting jobs, 3 babysitting jobs at $10. I'm going to be able to pay for it. Oh, wow, that's very clear. Congratulations, that's great. That's a great goal. So she was very happy, and I actually ran through to the other room to see Emma and see what she was up to, what was wrong. And when I got there, she was still sobbing. And so I hugged her, and we hugged for a while. And it was one of these things where, I said, what can I help you with? What's wrong? She said, I don't want to do these stupid goal-setting things. I said, why not? And they actually work. And she said, well, I said, what's the problem? What would you like to see different if you were setting a goal for yourself? She said, well, I wasn't going to tell you, Dad, but, I have to tell you that every time I go into class at school with one teacher, and this is a straight A student, by the way, every time I go into this one class, the teacher, before I even sit down, shouts out a question to me, and he knows that I get very embarrassed about it, and and even if I know the answer, I sometimes get so embarrassed about it, I just clam up. I don't know what to say, and it's incredibly embarrassing. And he's been doing this for months, and I'd like to change that, Dad. I really would like to change that, very much. And I said, and I can imagine me as a father at that point, just learning this, and it's been going on for months. I said, would you like me to go and see the teacher? And he said, oh no, Dad, no, because I don't know what I would have said or done to that teacher. But she said, no, I'll handle it myself. I'll handle it myself. I said, okay, you sure? Absolutely sure. So within a week or two, my son got his Ford Ranger, borrowed all the money from me, still hasn't paid me back. And my daughter Katie, she got her Walkman after her 3 bouts of babysitting, and she lost it the next day and didn't care. But I have to tell Emma, because her goal was entirely different. Her goal was to face the fear, face the teacher. And when I got home one night, she runs to me crying with tears of joy, and Dad, I did it. I said, oh my gosh, what have you done? Nowadays, you just don't know, right? But what have you done? She said, well, I walked into that classroom as usual, and he fired a question at me. And I was ready for him this time, Dad. And I answered the question. I fired the answer right back at him. And he was absolutely flabbergasted that I did that. And I said, wow, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. What happened after that? I said, well, he fired another one at me quickly again to try and catch me. And I fired back the answer again before I even sat down. I said, whoa, what happened then? She said, well, Dad, that's the nice part. The whole class stood up and clapped and cheered, and it was just a wonderful, exhilarating feeling. And it's just a different type of facing your fears. And I just wanted to share that personal story with you because it meant a lot to me, and obviously meant a lot to Emma and the other, my Jamie and Katie as well. But the thing is that Jamie wanted a truck, basically, and he worked very hard and got his truck. And within 2 or 3 days later, I actually talked to him about it, and he wanted a bigger truck with bigger wheels, a different color, bigger engine. So he got his goal. He managed to accomplish his goal, but he actually, wasn't happy with that. He was on to something else. And Katie, she accomplished the goal very easily in 3 weeks, and she lost her Walkman and didn't care, and happily moved on to something else. But Emma's goal was an entirely different goal. She actually was facing her fear. Her goal was to actually walk in and face that teacher and face that fear. So, and she accomplished that beautifully. And incidentally, that teacher and her became fast friends after that, and for years after, even when she graduated from high school, they still were friends. So it was a good outcome. But the reason for telling you and sharing that story is real simple. It was to show you that goals come in all shapes and sizes. Jamie wanted a truck, Katie wanted a mini recorder, Walkman, and Emma had a personal goal that she wanted to face some of her fears. So goals are incredibly important, but they come in all shapes and sizes. And you have to decide which goal you need to face. What are the priorities? So priority planning becomes a big part of setting goals.